Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. Rusty and Heather Bryant. We're glad to be back with you early on a Monday morning because you're all listening at 5 o'clock, 5:05 actually. It comes 5:05 Central Time. And I still think it's hilarious that so many of you are like, yeah, we listen to it as soon as it comes out.
Or on our way to work. No, I mean, it's not hilarious. It's amazing.
No, yeah, I mean, it's hilarious because you said...
Nobody listens.
Nobody listens to it either.
I was convinced that if you waited until the next morning to record, to edit it, that nobody would notice.
Yeah.
But they would. Somebody did.
All right. So we are following up because last week we didn't get to finish that episode because the episode was basically what you are thinking at 2 o'clock in the morning when the thoughts going through your head are, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
And so you talked so much that we had to stop and move today and move to this week's episode so we could finish.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you need to finish from your episode from last?
No. And I'm sorry that I took the whole time. Nobody's complained, I don't think. But what the part was, when I started talking, I realized that there were two separate ways to look at it and two separate times. And so once I started that, I was like, no way we finished this in one episode. So I think that it was important that I covered those two areas. But I'm really looking forward to listening to you talk about what's wrong with you.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
You thinking what's wrong with me in the middle of the night, because I know that you had those feelings. And honestly, I think it's going to be a little bit harder for me to listen because I feel like I caused it. You know, like when I was talking last week about what was wrong, what's wrong with me. Those are feelings that I had, that I caused, that I had to process through. But you are thinking the thoughts that came your way that kept you up at 2 o'clock in the morning were because of decisions I made. And so I think it's going to be a little bit difficult to hear, but I'm also really excited to hear about what your thoughts were, because I know the God that redeemed those thoughts, and I know you post those thoughts. And so I know that there's people listening that are literally going to be hanging on every word that you say because they're in the same boat.
All right. Well,
no pressure.
You set me up. Set me up for
I'm
failure.
Excited. No, I did not.
No, well, I can remember those nights very vividly, and I remember them, happening immediately and then lingering for a really long time because I like my self-esteem and self-worth and value, and do I have what it takes? Am I good enough? All of those things were just destroyed. And, I don't know. I don't think that it's different for if it's a man, the husband or the wife that's in my position. But I do think that there's some different thoughts that go on there, and for me, just because I'm a man, we always have the thoughts of, do I have what it takes? Like, am I good? Like, I want to have what it takes. And that comes from that respect thing. And it's like, I have this need and this desire for my wife and my kids to respect me. And I already don't feel worthy. I feel like I'm a fake in a lot of ways. But to have a family that believes in you and believes that you're enough, and then all of that to just be completely gone. And the ultimate, really the ultimate disrespect of, what you did. And so, I laid there just thinking, what is wrong with me that I can't even love my wife well enough to where she would want to go and do this? And so just that no value, self, just, yeah, it was, there were a lot of really, really tough nights.
So, what I hear you saying is that for a normal man who has not been betrayed, the thought of, am I enough, is still there.
Always, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then on top of that, the betrayal. And so it wasn't just, am I enough? You were like, well, obviously I'm not. Yeah.
And then, I mean, we've talked to enough women that have laid there thinking the same things, but, just the feeling of my husband chose somebody else over me. And I mean, like, those are just hard things to wrestle with. And,
Yeah.
and, and you lay there and you think, how will I ever feel good about myself again after this? And so I know that people stay up and think that. I mean, I was reminded even today because ironically, I've been reading through the Bible. I started this, I don't know, a year and a half or so ago, maybe close to 2 years ago. And I just said, I'm just going to read the thing straight through. No plan. It's just if God tells me to read a chapter, if I have time to read a chapter, I read a chapter. If it's 3 chapters, it's 3 chapters. And sometimes I get excited because it's good. And then other days I'm reading about this person begot this person, this person had this many kids and all of that. And I'm like, all right, really? So I feel you. I feel your pain out there if you're in the middle of Leviticus, okay? But I'm not in Leviticus. I'm well beyond Leviticus, thank goodness. But I opened up today and I started Job. And so it's kind of ironic because there was a night not long after that you confessed to being unfaithful, and like I laid there and thought, this has to be how Job felt. Like, his entire world just being ripped out from under him. And so one night, I picked up, I was just thinking, I was like, I am modern day Job. That's who I am. And so I got my Bible and I opened to Job. It's a long book. I read the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I read the whole thing, and I don't know, maybe it helped. Probably didn't. It probably just helped me to waller in my self-pity a little bit because that's part of the book. I mean, he was a righteous man, and I mean, it's a great story. And the fact that, he's restored and what he's given back is, multiples of what he had. But at the same time, there's the middle of it is like his 3 crazy friends that come and talk to him. And,
which is really hard for people who don't know that they're crazy. Because, like, I read through it the first time and I was like, that's not good advice.
Yeah, they gave bad advice.
It's in the Bible, so
yeah,
it's got
his wife gives bad advice because his wife's like, "Oh, just curse God
and die.
Just curse God and die." And but he has this. I mean, he even wallers around in it for a bit
with good reason.
Yes, and so like I said, I don't know that was that great, but it bookends. There's a great beginning and there's a great end to the book.
Yeah,
and but I just like I have thought since then, and the part that I really clung to was just God saying, the conversation that he had with Satan, where he was like, "Hey, have you considered my servant Job?" And I really did. I had to cling to that because I thought I would picture God having that conversation with Satan. Have you considered my servant Rusty? And like Satan going, "Oh, I got the one thing that will cause him to not praise you and to curse you, basically." And then he pulled that string, you know, I just had to go, okay, God, I'm gonna be faithful. I'm gonna honor that you believe in me, because that's where I felt. That's where I was like, nobody else believes in me. And I mean, even people, because again, our story was very, very public. So the people that were coming to me saying, just leave, like just leave her. Well, to me, that was also them saying they don't believe in me, because they're like, you can't pull this off.
Yeah.
And not that it was me pulling something off,
Yeah.
but it was like, you know, after this, you can't recover. You can't recover from this. So just get out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just felt like everybody was against me. And, you know, we lost a lot of friends. We lost, you know, just had some really hard, even some church hurt in there, because, and we've admitted this, but we caused something in our community that nobody knew how to handle.
Yeah.
And so we have great sympathy for that now, and we can look back on it with a lot of compassion. But it was just one thing after another of, man, no, I mean, I'm not worth anything. And so I just remember just having to really start. I mean, there's no other way to say this except that I could not recover unless I somehow connected to a source of strength that was greater than my own. And so, you know, I said it last week and I said I was going to address it, but, you know, we've had people that'll reach out on social media and they call me weak. Like, and I don't know. At this point, you know, it's been 14 years and there's a part of me that wants to cuss at them, I guess, but not really. But there is this part of me that's like, really? I mean, I don't even. I mean, why would somebody even say that? But the other day I was thinking through, because somebody recently has said that, and that's why it got me thinking about it. Somebody put that on there that I'm a weak man, and I was like, yeah, I laid there in the middle of the night and thought that I was weak because I couldn't keep my family together. I mean, even though you would say over and over there was nothing to do with me and I didn't do anything, but it's that attack of I couldn't keep my family together. I couldn't keep you happy. Like you had to go somewhere else to find happiness. And so just having to lay there and deal with that. So did I think I was weak? Absolutely. I thought I was weak. And then, you know, here I hear it 14 years later and I go, you know what? I'm not weak. Like the weak thing, the easy thing is to just say I'm done and walk away.
Yeah.
Like that's the weak thing and the easy thing. And so the thing that I know now though is, am I weak? Yeah, we're all weak.
Mm-hmm.
And so things happen in our lives that cause us to go, I can't do this without somebody else's strength. And so when I just got to that place where, I mean, you were broken, and I guess early on I thought, well, I'm not broken. I don't have anything broken that needs fixing. I thought it was just our marriage that was broken. But along the way, I started realizing, no, you know, I've got to understand that I can't do this alone. I have to turn to God, and I have to allow Him to be my strength, because in reality, hey, whoever you were that said that I was weak, you're right. You are too. And the only way that you can have enough strength to be able to do what I did and to stay and fight for my marriage is to draw on the strength of God. Yeah. And that's the only way to do it.
Yeah. I've been off social media for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really glad I didn't see that comment.
Yeah.
Because I think I might have gone wifey bear on them.
Well,
because you are absolutely the strongest man that I know. I mean, you held it all together. I mean, you were a strong dad. Like, the kids never wavered. They never wavered. They never doubted our family. I mean, we've had them on our podcast, and they've said that, and they didn't because you never wavered. You were just strong. And did you have sadness, and did you have really, really, really hard days? Absolutely. But I mean, you're the strongest man that I know. And I just like the fact that you can say I'm weak because God is strong. I mean, it says that in scripture that his strength is made in our weakness. Like, that's probably not exactly what it says. But when we're weak, that is his time to be strong. It's his time to shine. It's his time to go, yeah, you're right. Rusty can't do this in his strength, but watch this. And that's such a beautiful picture, and a great picture, and a strong picture for people out there who are laying in bed at 2:00 in the morning and saying, "What's wrong with me?"
Well, and if you are one of those people that lays there and you think, what is wrong with me? You know, how my wife or my husband has done this to me, and something's obviously wrong with me, or they wouldn't have done that. And what I want to say to you is that you are not defined by someone else's actions. And you're also not defined by what other people say about you. And so your identity is just like Heather says all the time, you're a daughter of the King. You're a son of the King. And like that's who you are. Period. And you are already forgiven. You are already redeemed. And it's because of what Jesus did on the cross. And so because of that, then you can rest assured that that's your identity. And your identity is not that my spouse had an affair, my spouse betrayed me, my spouse cheated on me, whatever you want, those thoughts that come to you in the middle of the night, that's not who you are. And you can't let somebody else's actions define you. And here's the thing. You are ultimately, you're responsible for you and your own thoughts. Now, sometimes thoughts creep in because the enemy likes to have his way. He likes to say things, he likes to whisper things to you, but you're responsible for what you do with those thoughts.
Yeah.
And so just like you were saying last week, you know, you had those thoughts and you had to take them captive and make them obedient. And in the same way, you have to do that even on this side of it. You have to take it captive because it's easy to start with, oh man, you must not be a good husband. And then it's like, not only are you not a good husband, you're just not even, I mean, you're not good at anything. You have no value, no worth. I mean, like, talk about just being trampled on, you know, all of that. And you can just go deeper and deeper and deeper. But when you're able to stop the train from going down that track and just stop it, when you're able to stop that, that's the first step, is just, I am not going to entertain these thoughts. Because the other part of it is that when those thoughts pop into your head, and I like to do this with lots of things, but I like to think, okay, is this thought, is this from God? And it's pretty easy. I mean, a lot of times when you really just stop, it's easy to discern and determine this thought is not from God. And if it's anything about your value or self-worth, I mean, because God thinks you're the greatest thing. He made you. Mm-hmm. He created you. I mean, you think about how you think about your children. You know, for those of you who have children, it doesn't matter how bad they mess up.
Yep.
They're still your child. And you still love them with this unconditional love. And you can still look at them and see your image on them.
Yeah.
And
if we love our children like that, can't imagine how much greater God loves us.
Because ours is such an imperfect love.
Right.
But his is a perfect love that's unconditional. Yeah. And so like he chose to make you. And he even chose your story to be what it is. He allowed your story to be what it is. So as you're laying there and you're getting these thoughts of, yeah, I'm not good enough, then that's not coming from God. And so that's when you stop that. And then not only do you stop it, but then you replace it with truth. And the truth becomes the things that you know is just what I said. You're a child of God. Yeah. You're a son of the King. You're a daughter of the King. And then when you replace that, that's you taking control of your thoughts and you taking control of how you feel. Because the worst thing is to let somebody else and their actions have power over you. And that's where people get so hung up and they can't get past it. And they just bitterness and, the unforgiveness, the bitterness, it just all piles up. And then all you're doing, you're just in bondage and you're letting somebody else do that.
Right.
And the crazy thing is that, it's not just that you're letting your spouse, maybe your spouse is unrepentant, and maybe your unrepentant spouse is causing you to have all these thoughts. And so you can look at that and you can go, well, I'm having all these thoughts because you haven't changed and you're not, so it's hard for me to forgive you. And so you just get bitter, but you're still the one being held in bondage, but you're being held in bondage by somebody that's just not living the way that they should be living. But what really bothers me and gets me upset are when there's the ones that have repented and they've genuinely changed and they're working, and yet you still allow that person to hold you in bondage.
Yeah.
And it's so discouraging to see that, because again, when you think about, is this from God? Would God want me to hang on to this, especially when he's over here doing this work in my spouse's life? Now, are they perfect? No, but they're giving the effort, they're doing the things for the road to recovery, but yet you just won't let go of it.
Right.
And because you won't let go of it, you keep telling yourself, I'm not good enough. And they're never going to change, and it's never going to be like it's going to be. You're listening to all those voices that are outside your head, and then also the ones that are inside your head when the enemy's attacking. And so I just want to say to the person that's listening, you have control of your thoughts. And I know it's easier said than done, but you do have control of what you're thinking and how far you let it go. So take the thought captive, make it obedient by thinking of truth, which is you are a child of God.
Yep.
Okay, do you have any questions for me? Because I just talked.
No, that's okay.
What did I not cover?
No, you covered it. You really did. And I just, I think about the person that's out there that's listening to this that may just, be so discouraged in their worth. And I just cannot tell you the importance of lining your worth up with what God says about you. Because the world is cruel. People are cruel. But just digging in to Scripture and saying, what does God say about me? Who does he say that I am? And it just changes your whole perspective. And just claiming that and writing that on index cards, like knowing who you are, hanging them up everywhere and reminding yourself. And if you wake up at 2:00 in the morning, you get those cards out and remind yourself who you are.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So for those of you that are out there that are just feeling no value, no worth in the middle of the night, just remember, you're not defined by what someone has done to you, and you're certainly not defined by what the enemy's trying to whisper to you. And so what I want is for God's voice to be the loudest in your head. And so listen for that, because a lot of times God he's not loud. It even says in Scripture, he whispers. And the closer you are to him, the closer you are to him, just like with a whisper, when somebody's whispering to you, if they're whispering from across the room, it's hard to hear them.
Yeah.
If you're really close to them, you can hear them, and you know their voice, you know what they're saying. And so in the same way, draw yourself close to God so that you can hear his voice. And then in the middle of the night, when you're hearing other voices, you'll be able to hear God's voice, even in that whisper, and it will drown out all of the others.
Yep.
So,
Good word.
all right. Thanks for listening, gang. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
Peace.